Stand by for action.
Welcome to Dogsthorpe Infant School Launchpad.
This is your captain speaking. We've been cleared for departure.
Okay, Eddie, start the countdown.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's go.
Part of the Hampton Academies Trust. It's the school where stars go to dream, believe and shine.
Thank you for joining us today, wherever you're listening around the world. Welcome to the show. Thank you for choosing Eddie's Launchpads. Confidence is a very important thing, of course, because how we feel can affect everything in our life. And I do mean everything. So that is why it's great to have Vie Portland onto the show today, and I'm sure a great help to all of our listeners. Welcome to the show, Vie.
Thank you for having me.
You're very famous, aren't you? You are famous. No, you are. You last year was a big year for you. You got an award, didn't you?
I've recently been named one of the top 100 small businesses.
Yeah.
And last year I was one of the top 100 female businesses. Yeah.
And rightfully so, because the work that you do is vitally important. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all?
Everything I do stems from, I have the academic experience, I have the work experience, but everything I do really stems from my lifestyle, my life and how it's always been. I was born with a rare disability that wasn't diagnosed until I was almost 28. I grew up in a family where I was constantly told I was fat, ugly and worthless. I went into abusive relationships because of that, because I had no worth. I didn't feel I deserved anything better. And then I hit a point where it was up or out. And I chose up and started working using all of my academic and work experience. I've always worked with children and young people, and started turning it in on myself rather than focusing it outwards all the time, and developed lots of tools that have really helped me go from someone who genuinely thought that when I was out, if someone looked at me, that they thought I was going to be too ugly and I'd be scaring children, to being who I am now. And I know your listeners can't see me, but I'm always very vibrantly dressed. I've always got flowers in my hair. I am very unapologetically me now, very happy being me. And so, yeah, all the work and academic experience is very important. But really, for me, I've been there. I know what it's like to be too scared to look in a mirror, to be too scared to go out, to feel that you've got no worth. And I've changed that. So when people ask, oh, who's your biggest success story? I can give them names of lots of people, but really it's me.
When a business leader invests everything into the business, and I do mean everything, that's when businesses really come into their own. And it's because you've been through some of those things, and some of the things that you said I resonate with, having been bullied at school because of my size. But actually, when you then you realise that what you can offer can make a big difference, not only to others but to yourself. That's when you really start to grow. So that's great. Yeah. So you've started this fantastic business. What sorts of things do you offer in your business?
So a variety of things. Everything comes under the I help people find their fabulous umbrella. But so I've got the training that I do. So I train teachers, teaching staff, wraparound care providers, how to create environments that are happier, kinder, more confident, more representative, that will help both teaching staff and the children and young people thrive. I do something similar for corporates to help people in business, rather than feeling like they're just a cog in the wheel, to help them feel that they're thriving as well, that they're appreciated. I run workshops in schools and organisations and groups like brownies and guides and things like that. I do some public speaking. And I also write inclusive children's picture books, positive growth books for adults, and I've got a couple of workbooks out now as well. One for a confidence boosting book for physically disabled teens. And that came about, I'm an ambassador for a charity for the main disability I have. And I was running a workshop for teens at a conference we had earlier this year. And also being neurodivergent, I had a bright idea the week before. I'll create a workbook. So I created a workbook for those teens, because especially my disabilities are predominantly hidden. And so sometimes we can feel we're not disabled enough because it can't be seen, it can't be that bad. So the book is about encouraging people to value who they are, appreciate who they are, celebrate the things they can do rather than bemoan the things they can't. And also know that their voice is important. If all of us took one step forward to a kinder world, that's almost 8 billion steps. That's incredible, isn't it? So every single one of us can make a difference, whether that's in our lounge or in our neighborhood or anywhere, and it can get bigger and bigger. And that's what I want to encourage people to do, is believe they can make a difference, because everyone really can. Part of what I do is about representation, and that's things like books. I love children's books. Obviously, I'm an author of them, but I have got quite a collection of children's books at home. I love them. I've used them always. I think they're the best way to learn for so many things. But when you look at children's books, first of all, the fact that there are more animals, aliens, and monsters than there are girls in books, for a start. But then when you break that down even further, I think there's less than 7% of books from I can't remember who the statistic came from a couple of years ago, that have someone with a disability in. And that book is also generally about their disability. And these books are really important in raising awareness. Like I said, I've got a rare disability. I never saw me represented anywhere. But in my books, I wanted it to be that the disabilities are never mentioned, the differences are never mentioned, because I firmly believe that we've all got far more in common than anything that makes us different. So in my books, and by other people's books, where people of colour, people with disabilities, people with facial differences, anyone that doesn't look like the stereotypical main person in a children's book, to have that representation also normalizes us, and it doesn't make us stand out. It's like, they like playing trains like I do, not they're using a stick or they've got a hearing aid or they've got a birthmark on their face. It's look what we've got in common. And I think, so representation is a big part of what I do as well, because I think the more we see it, the more we as disabled people feel more valued and feel more part of the community, but also other people read it and accept it as the norm. 1 in 4 of us are disabled in the UK. So there's quite a lot of us. And yeah, it's for me, it's about helping people see that we are the norm. We're just like everybody else. We've got far more in common. We just have whatever issues that we have, whether it's mobility or internal health or whatever, we still all love and learn and bleed red. It's all the things we have in common that are far more important.
I know that we have listeners all around the world, particularly in America and in Australia. Welcome if you're listening. Thank you for choosing us. But I don't know what it's like in your country. But I'm going to ask you a question now, Vie, about our situation. When I think things are changing for the better. I'm seeing more females in big roles that would in the past have gone to male when it comes to films and whatever, in a role that wouldn't have happened. I see inclusivity in characters where they would never have been. It would have been a stereotypical view of a particular type of person. And now that seems to be changing, which is great. Would you say we're getting better, or are things now and again getting worse?
There's that fable, isn't there, about a dog, two dogs. They both go into the same room. One goes in, comes out growling. One goes in wagging its tail and comes out wagging its tail. And all they've done is gone into the room and see a mirror. So the growling dog sees another growling dog. The wagging its tail dog sees another wagging tail. So it's where we look.
Right.
And we can look and we can see the atrocities that are happening in the UK and in America, especially right now. We can see those things and despair. But then we can also look and see that there are people who are doing incredible things to make a difference, to show that all of us, irrespective of what we look like, of what we do, are valued and important. So, yeah, I think it depends where you look and to know that you can change it. Like I said, that we can all make a difference, hopefully on the kinder side of things. But yeah, I think it is what you're reading. If you're only watching the news and reading particular newspapers, you're only going to see all of the sad stuff. But then there are other wonderful sources like the happy news, positive news, both great magazines. Happy News is a newspaper, Positive News is a magazine that shares things like animals that are breeding and growing again that were almost extinct. Huge environmental impacts that we don't hear about because there's so much more negativity. So it's about looking for those things. And if you've got hope, you feel more likely to challenge things and change things, I believe.
And hopefully, the more we focus on the blue sky, the more we chase the clouds away. Would shining bright help somebody who is at the moment feeling pretty low? And I'm thinking about somebody who contacted me recently, someone who's really struggling with their self-confidence. Is that the sort of book that a parent could buy for their teenage child?
Absolutely. When I wrote it, I had people with my disability look through it, see if it was of help to them, but also parents with other children, with children that have disabilities. And a lot of it is the same as worksheets and things I would do with children and young people anyway. But it's the text in between the worksheets that's almost more important in helping them see that we are valued. I call myself weirdly wonderful and wonkily wired because I've got several conditions, and it can be easy, especially with the rhetoric that's going around at the moment about scroungers and things like that, that we are a waste of space, that we are draining society. But really, it's people. We are all capable, like I've said already, of making a difference. I know I have made a difference to so many. I know I have saved lives. I know that I have helped people, adults, get dream jobs because they didn't believe they could before. And I believe that of every person, irrespective of age, whether they're a toddler up to people of all ages, who read any of my books will realise that there is so much about them that's incredible. And and like I said, in Shining Bright especially, it's about encouraging people with disabilities that their voice matters. So many decisions are made about us, but don't include us. We only have to look at the current things going on around PIP payments and DLA to see that people that actually benefit from those benefits are not being included. So in there's a big thing about nothing about us without us, that our voices matter because we are the experts in our conditions, in how it feels to live as a disabled person. But it's about saying, no, it's my body, my choice, and having some autonomy over it. Obviously, it's important we always listen to medical advice because sometimes they do know better, but quite often they don't. So, for example, I could go in to a doc chair. My disability is so rare that I've only ever met 2 doctors outside of my specialist team who knew what the condition was. And I could go in with my arm hanging off and they'll go, that's your EB, that is. because it's easier to contribute everything to a rare disease than it is to actually look at what the problems are. So I am the expert in what my condition does to me, and same as any person that works through Shining Bright, they are the expert because they are the only person that lives with themselves 24/7. And we often devalue that because doctors have got degrees upon degrees, but we are the experts because we know how it feels to live within our bodies. And that's what Shining Bright does. It helps people see that what they say, what they do, how they feel is all valid.
There you are, parents. Well, don't worry about the details of how to get a hold of this workbook. If your teenager is struggling at the moment, we'll give you all the details of where you can get a hold of V's book, because it is very it may be well worth a look at this, because it may help you. The person who contacted me went out. They thought it was just going to be okay. It was a nice venue. It included places so that their disability wasn't any struggle to them. But something happened afterwards, and that person then felt that they wouldn't go again. And I find that incredibly sad. And we've got to do things to help our young people get their confidence back, because their confidence, some young people are very confident, and if they are, that's great. But there are some that are struggling at the moment and need our help. And that's why V's the sort of person we need to have on the podcast from time to time to help us. For a parent who's got a young person, or for a teacher who's got somebody in their class who's really struggling with their self-confidence, have you any? I know it's a big subject and it's hard for you to plumb down on one particular thing, but could you offer any advice on this podcast for a parent who's struggling with their child because maybe they won't go out because they lack their self-confidence?
First of all, I'd say to listen to them and believe them. As parents, people want to, understandably, they want to say to their child, oh, don't worry about them, you're beautiful, you're perfect. And because that's what they believe. But that child is surrounded by lots of messages telling them they're not. So don't believe them, you're this. Believe that that's how they feel for a start, because that means that the child will then feel safer talking to you, the young person will feel safer. I worked with a family a while ago, and the mum was saying, I'm telling my daughter how beautiful she is all of the time, but she's getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And I said, what else is she good at? She said, what do you mean? I said, well, if you told her that she's got a beautiful smile, that she makes a great cup of tea, that she gives you brilliant hugs, that she's really clever at making you laugh, all of these things. And sadly, we still focus so much on our external appearance that we forget that we are far more than that. I say to people, it's who we are and what we do that matters. It's just a fancy meat package that I walk around in. That's all it is. And so I would encourage parents and carers, teachers, to celebrate the things that make that person, not that size, not that shape, not that colour, that to go to them, you always make me smile in this class, thank you very much. Or the parent to go, thank you so much for being you. I really appreciate you and I'm grateful that you're mine. So to not do so much about the physical. I mean, obviously everyone likes to be told they look good, but that shouldn't be the only positive comments that we get. It should be about all of us and how brilliant we are and the difference we're making, even if it's just on your sofa. You've really cheered me up today because you gave me a wonderful hug. Thank you for that. Because we've all been brought up with only paying compliments about our external appearance. And in my second children's book, I thought I want to do something about that. So instead of focusing on Emily, the main character, and what she looks like, she'd go, Mummy, who am I? And her mum would go, you're the brave child who. You're the clever child who, you're the gentle child who, and all of these things to encourage people to think about the children in their lives and all the things they are, not just that they've got a cute button nose or whatever. So those would be the simplest tips I would give. All of the children's books, it's only the workbooks that are only available on Amazon. All of the others are available online from anywhere, Waterstones, Hive, anywhere.
We're always trying to say that to our children at Dogsthorpe Infant School that they are very special, they are needed, they are wanted, they are cared for, they are loved, and they shine like stars. But we've all got to play a part in that, because there are too many young people in the UK and across the world who are doing terrible things to themselves, including that word that I don't want to use, where they end their life, because they're struggling with their self-confidence. We don't want that. We want our children to be happy, don't we? All of us want the best for our children. So to all you listeners out there, thank you for joining us today. And we'll now share with you where you can buy these wonderful books. Vie, I'm guessing you've got a website.
I do. It's www.vipempowerment.co.uk.
Well, there we are, folks. Don't worry if you didn't get that, or if you're driving and you can't write it down. It doesn't matter. Double click on this podcast. All the text will be there for you, and Vie will contribute to that text. So she will explain everything that she does and all that she needs to, all that she offers you to go out and help those young people and make a difference like V's done, because V's turned her life around, and what a marvellous difference she's making to families, actually saving lives. And wouldn't it be good, mums and dads, if one day we can say something, a word in season, that could save a child's life? It may even be our own. Folks, thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to double click, and me and Edster will see you next week.
Dogsthorpe Infant School is part of Hampton Academies Trust. Eddie's Launchpads is an EdStar production for Dogsthorpe Infant School.